Hi, everyone. I hope you all had a good week and a wonderful Easter. It's such a joyous occasion to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus and the promise of new life that brings. Now, today's story takes place on the same day as the empty tomb was discovered, and the same day as the road to Emmaus. It is the first Sunday after Jesus has been crucified. And we want to talk today about one of the disciples in particular. And he's most noted for this story. He's often called Doubting Thomas. But that doesn't mean he doesn't believe in Jesus. Thomas is one of the original 12 disciples that Jesus called to take the message of God's love out to the world. And he believes Jesus, he follows Jesus, he knows who Jesus is. But a lot has happened over this last week, right? We've seen the triumphal entry and then the arrest and the crucifixion, and the disciples aren't quite sure what to think. And as far as they know right now, for most of them, they don't know where Jesus is. They know that the body isn't in the tomb, but they don't know what exactly has happened. And so, this is the first Sunday after Jesus has been crucified. His disciples are together in a locked room. And they were afraid of those who'd crucified Jesus because the disciples are followers of Jesus. So if the authorities have crucified Jesus, the disciples might be in danger too. But suddenly, in the middle of the locked room, Jesus appears. They're with him. Now, this was hard for them to believe at first because when last they saw Jesus, Jesus had died upon the cross. But they saw him, and Jesus showed him the wounds in his hands and his side, so they knew that it was him. Now, one of the disciples, Thomas, was not with the others when Jesus appeared to them. And when they told Thomas afterwards, he didn't believe them because he said, "I've seen him crucified and buried. How can I believe that he's alive?" And so Thomas said, "Unless I see the wound in his side and put my finger in the holes where the nails were in his hands, I will not believe it." Now, what do you think Jesus did? Very famous painting by a painter named Rembrandt from 1603, and this shows us what happened when Jesus came back to see the disciples. Now, a week later, the disciples were back in a locked room, and this time Thomas was with them. And again Jesus came and stood amongst the disciples, and Jesus said to Thomas, "Put your finger here, see my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe." Thomas fell on his knees and answered Jesus, "My Lord and my God." And Jesus said to him, "Because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." Now, some people might be worried that Jesus would be angry at Thomas for not believing right away. But Jesus understood that his disciples would make mistakes, that sometimes they would be afraid, that sometimes they would have doubts. Remember that he predicted that Peter would deny knowing him 3 times before the rooster crowed on the morning that Jesus was to be crucified. Remember that many of the disciples ran away when Jesus was crucified because they were afraid. And now Jesus is resurrected. He has come back to the disciples, and Thomas isn't sure what to believe because he wasn't there to see it the first time. But when Jesus comes back, Thomas sees the wounds, he hears Jesus speak, and he knows this is the Lord. Thomas believes now that he can see. And what Jesus says to him at the end is an important point. Jesus says, "Blessed are those who believe even though they cannot see." And this is something that we need to remember in our own faith. There will be times that we doubt. But what Jesus wants us to always remember is even though we can't always see what's ahead, we can't understand perhaps what's happening to us, as long as we know that Jesus is there, that's the important part, and that will always help us get through difficult things. That is what Jesus wants us to remember. We don't need to see to believe because Jesus is always with us and Jesus' love for us is constant. And that is the greatest gift that we have as Christians. So have a good week, everyone. Take good care. Wear your masks, wash your hands, and God bless. See you next time. Bye, everyone.